Hi guys, it's the portfolio update for week ending 26th of March 2021, which is I think 4 days before my actual year end of the 1st of April. So I'll be doing another one I think next Friday when I see what I've made or perhaps lost in during the course of the year. It wasn't a good week, as probably the same in most of your portfolios, but it was a good Friday, so it pegged back a little bit. I'm now 10.4% up. Interestingly, 12% came from trading. So again, that stresses the benefit of actually top slicing and adding on dips. And a negative amount have actually come from the investing, which will always happen, particularly when my top three are below water. Now I'm losing money on all my top three. But to give some confidence in that, I added to all my top three this week. So in order, we've got 4D Pharma at the top. Now it floated on the NASDAQ, or it jointly floated on the NASDAQ along with the AIM, which it was previously on Monday. So it kicked in Monday afternoon, and I actually top sliced when it hit 147 before the NASDAQ opening. It actually got up to, I think, 152, but I was out eating and drinking, so I missed that bit. And then we were all expecting it to sort of do extremely well when it went on NASDAQ, and there are various reasons why it hasn't. I think the first couple of days there wasn't much publicity about it, and hardly anyone knew it was there. Those are the excuses anyway. But anyway, after that, it continued to drop. And I have bought 4 separate tranches of 4D Pharma since then. And in my top three, I'm entirely confident that one day, soon, they will be substantially higher than they are now, because they are seriously undervalued for numerous amounts of reasons. So I as I said, I top sliced at 147, and then I bought back at 136, 130, 123, and actually 114.5, which is actually where it is now. Now it did drop to 112, and my next target, I haven't updated it on here yet, but my next target would be to buy it again if it went below 110. And that, if you recall, was the placing price that they did just prior to the move on to the NASDAQ. So great hopes for that one. Their reports will be coming out very soon. It's difficult to imagine the reports will be, or the annual report will not contain some good news, because moving on to NASDAQ and then coming out with bad news is not going to be a good way of doing things. So I'm even more confident that the top ups I've made will be much more significant. But I'm currently losing 13% or 9% if you count the trades. Now into NCYT, NCYT. That again dropped below 600 on a couple of days, or at least one day last week, and I bought at 694, and it then peaked back up. It got to about 730 and then ended up the week at 710. Again, there is some announcement due on the DHSC, I think they call it now, contract, which technically runs out today, I think, the 6-month contract. I think it's fairly clear to all supporters, at least anyway, that it has been extended in some form, because they are hiring shed loads of people. Number of them are sort of tagged with being NHS facing. So there's like NHS territory managers, and I think there's 4 of those in particular locations. So it's pretty much unfathomable to think that they haven't got a continued relationship with the DHSS going on. It just needs to be put out there in the market, and there are shed loads of other contracts being signed and produced all over the world. The great guys, mainly on Twitter, guys and girls, find a number of these, and there's been more found this week. There are more distributors coming out, so they are making. And the big news was that I may have mentioned it last week, but they announced that, or the NHS announced that they had actually paid NCYT, or were destined to pay NCYT, £92 million for the month of November. Now, we don't know if that was included in the 300 or so million pound profit they made in the last financial year, or whether that was actually billed then and paid sometime this year. But we'll find out when the results are given in sometime in mid-April or mid to late April. So there's only about 3 weeks to wait, and then we'll get all the detail about what happened in 2020, which was a stellar year for them. And of course, there'll be an update on what's happened so far this year. So great hopes on that one. And DVRG, it continues to amaze. They have come out with all sorts of news recently. They are also linked to microsake systems, which I had a small top up in there as well. So I've now got 0.75% in there. DVRG bought Modern Water. I think it was November last year or thereabouts. I was invested in Modern Water, and of course it did the Modern Water share price very good. So I'm pretty hopeful it'll do the same for microsake as well. They make very small AI spectrometers that fit in the Modern Water and some of the LabSkin products. So it's totally well embedded, and it wouldn't be at all surprising if DVRG did the same as it did with Modern Water and went and bought microsake, which of course would be good for the microsake share price as well. But they are doing extremely well in China. They're up for another award, which they got nominated out of something like 160 companies or such like. The LabSkin Trust has been launched. People have been on Twitter showing the swabs that they've received so that they can set up their own skin microbiome with LabSkin. Now, they'll be charging for that. I'm not quite sure how much they'll be charging, but there'll be a number of people I'm sure will go in for that. Not sure they'll be sending it out to Thailand, but I guess I might try it if they did. But anyway, I'm wholly confident in 4D Pharma, Novocyte and DVRG being substantially better prices than they are today at some point in the future. Tech Capital was an interesting one. I added on to that last week. It's the same as Braveheart down here, which I will come to in a moment, in that it's an investment company. And one of its investment companies had a very good YouTube video on Lucid. It's got 4 investment companies that it's invested in. I mentioned Bellascura last week, which it only owns 20%, but and that's why the price dropped, because it did a market placing at 10p, which was a substantial discount, so they get enough money to buy more shares and warrants that they were entitled to under Bellascura. But Lucid is probably the least attractive of the 4 that it has, but it's actually making strides. It makes these sort of Bluetooth glasses which you can hear music in, you can say hello to Siri, you can call your friends, make calls and stuff like that, and they are rather stylish, and they are a lot cheaper than anything else out there on the market. So you can, if you wear glasses, you can buy a set of these and have prescriptions put in-house, and they do it for, I think the glasses come in at $150, which is cheap. Anyone that buys glasses know that. And they can have the prescription lenses put in for $35. Now, that's considerably cheaper than, I think it's Bose is the only other one on the market, which, this is the new stuff. It's called Lucid Light. There's a YouTube video from Harrison Gross, I think the guy's name is. He's sort of the young entrepreneur type. Well, worth a listen to. I was quite impressed. So I'm now putting Lucid up there. But anyway, I'm getting close to the 10 minutes, so I will come down to Braveheart, which was the saving grace over the, certainly on Friday. It shot up from somewhere around 70 to finish at 116, and it did touch 120. Now, the reason for that is because it wholly owns a company called Paritech. Paritech has a joint venture with a chap called Carl Smith, which has got spelt with a Y and an E, so maybe you pronounce it as Smythe, but I think it's Smith. He's all over Twitter. He's a very intellectual guy. he responds to all the naysayers and really puts them in their place. He doesn't mince his words either. He shoots from the lip. I really like the guy. Anyway, he's invented, or he and his team have invented, a COVID test, but it's not just a COVID test. It can detect sepsis and blood cancer and stuff like that, and it can do it in less than 2 minutes, or 60 seconds, I think they're calling it. So he's proved it. He's announced it all over like that. There was an RNS on Friday, which shot the price up, so I'm expecting it to go up again hugely on Monday, but we will see. And I did take a top slice there at 110, and you'll see I'm 109% in profit on what I still hold, and I'm very nearly 200% in profit when you take into account the top slicing and the dividends, because they are an investment company. At some point, they will sell out of Peritech. Probably not for a while, because it has potential to go, well, as they say, to the moon. But they pay out special dividends when they take a cut out of the companies that they're in. So I'm over my 10 minutes now, so I will cut it quiet there, and then I will come back on the 1st of April with the year's update, and share how I did with anyone that's interested. Okay, great. Have a good investment week. Take care.